It's 6 a.m. at a family camping trip. Everyone's still asleep. And my little brother and I are crouched outside our cousin Chad's tent, each holding a fart bomb, about to unleash absolute chaos. Why? Because the day before, Chad shoved my 8-year-old brother into a garbage can, and somehow I got blamed for it in front of the entire family. But karma? Karma was about to smell really bad. If you've ever been falsely accused, humiliated in front of people you love, or watched a bully get away with something they absolutely shouldn't have, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe if you love sweet revenge, and let me tell you about the most satisfying morning of my 12-year-old life. So, let me set the scene. Every summer, my extended family had this tradition. We'd all pile into our cars, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and head out to this massive campground for a long weekend. It was the kind of place where you could hear crickets at night, smell campfire smoke in the air, and wake up to birds chirping and the sound of someone's dad complaining about sleeping on the ground. Most of us slept in tents. The adults had their fancy two-room setups with air mattresses and battery-powered fans. Us kids? We got the basic dome tents, sleeping bags that smelled like mildew, and mosquito bites for days. But honestly, we loved it. Running around in the woods, playing flashlight tag after dark, roasting marshmallows until they caught fire, staying up way too late telling ghost stories. It was freedom, except for one problem. Chad. Chad was my cousin. Same age as me, about 12 years old. And he was that kid. You know the type. Always pushing boundaries. Always testing how much he could get away with. The kind of kid who thought being mean was the same thing as being funny. He'd trip you by accident, steal your snacks, and act like it was a joke. Make fun of you in front of other cousins and then say, "Relax, I'm just messing around." But his favorite target? My little brother. My brother was about 8 at the time. Sweet kid, a little shy. The kind of kid who'd rather explore the woods looking for cool rocks than get into arguments. And Chad loved picking on him. He'd hide my brother's shoes, scare him with fake spiders, call him a baby for not wanting to go near the lake alone. It drove me crazy, but I tried to keep the peace. Didn't want to cause drama. Didn't want the adults getting involved and ruining the weekend. I just kept telling myself, it's only a few days. Just ignore him. But then, Chad crossed a line. It was the second day of the camping trip. Mid-afternoon, the adults were all gathered around the picnic tables, drinking beers, playing cards, laughing at each other's bad jokes. Us kids were off doing our own thing near the edge of the campsite. My brother was playing with some sticks, building a little fort or something. I was sitting nearby, just hanging out, keeping an eye on him. That's when Chad showed up. He had this look on his face. That smirk. The one that meant he was about to do something stupid. "Hey," he said to my brother. "Bet you can't fit in that garbage can." My brother looked up, confused. "Why would I want to?" Chad shrugged. "I don't know. Just wondering." I should have known something was coming. Before my brother could react, Chad grabbed him. Just picked him up like a sack of potatoes. My brother started squirming. "Put me down." "Chad, stop." But Chad was laughing. He carried my brother over to one of those big metal garbage cans, the kind with the foot pedal that pops the lid open, and crammed him inside. Feet first, then folded him in half. Slammed the lid shut. I heard my brother's muffled voice from inside. "Let me out. I can't breathe." I jumped up immediately. My heart was pounding. I ran over and started trying to lift him out. The garbage can was heavy. My brother was panicking, pushing against the lid from the inside. I was pulling on his arms, trying to hoist him up. And that's when the adults noticed. Hey, what are you doing?" I looked up. 3 of my aunts and 2 uncles were rushing over, faces twisted in anger. "Get him out of there right now," one of my aunts shouted at me. "I am," I said, still pulling. "I'm trying to." "Why would you do that to your own brother?" I froze. "Wait, what?" "I didn't," I started. "That is so mean," another aunt snapped. "What is wrong with you?" My uncle reached over, grabbed my brother under the arms, and yanked him out of the garbage can. My brother was crying. His face was red. He looked terrified. The adults immediately swarmed him. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" "I didn't do it," I shouted. "It was Chad. He shoved him in there." But nobody was listening. Chad was standing off to the side, arms crossed, trying not to laugh. One of my uncles turned to me. "You need to learn to treat your brother better. That's unacceptable." But I didn't. "Enough. Go cool off." I stood there stunned, my face burning, my fists clenched. Everyone was glaring at me. My little brother was still crying. And Chad was smirking like he'd just won the lottery. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab Chad by the collar and drag him over and make him confess. But I knew it wouldn't matter. They'd already made up their minds. I was the bad guy. I walked away, jaw clenched, eyes stinging. I couldn't believe it. Not only had Chad done something horrible to my brother, but I got blamed for it. In front of the whole family. Aunts, uncles, cousins watching from a distance. And Chad got to walk away like nothing happened. My stomach twisted with anger. My hands were shaking. I found a spot behind one of the tents and just sat there, trying to process what had just happened. That's when my brother came over. His eyes were still red from crying. But he wasn't upset with me. He knew the truth. I tried to tell them, he said quietly. I told them it was Chad. But they didn't listen. I exhaled hard. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But it wasn't fine. My brother sat down next to me. We were both silent for a minute. Then he said, "We should get him back." I looked at him. He wasn't crying anymore. He looked determined. "Yeah," I said slowly. "Yeah, we should." That night, after the campfire died down and everyone went to bed, my brother and I stayed up whispering in our tent. We needed a plan. Something that would hit Chad hard. Something he'd never forget. And then I remembered. The fart bombs. We'd brought a pack of them from home. You know the kind, little sealed plastic bags with an inner pouch. You squeeze the inner pouch until it pops. The vinegar inside mixes with baking soda, and it releases this absolutely rancid rotten egg smell. It's disgusting. Like roadkill mixed with sulfur. Perfect. Here's what we do, I whispered. Tomorrow morning. Early. Before anyone's awake. We sneak over to Chad's tent, pop a couple of these, and toss them inside. My brother's eyes lit up. And he wakes up to the worst smell ever. Exactly. We high-fived in the dark. Revenge was on. The next morning, we woke up before sunrise. The campground was dead silent. Just the sound of wind rustling through the trees and a few birds starting to chirp. My brother and I crawled out of our tent as quietly as possible. The grass was wet with dew. The air was cold. We each grabbed a fart bomb from our stash and crept toward Chad's tent. My heart was pounding. Every step felt impossibly loud. I kept expecting someone to unzip their tent and catch us. But nobody did. We reached Chad's tent. I could hear him snoring inside. My brother looked at me. I nodded. I carefully reached for the zipper on Chad's tent. Pulled it down just a crack. Just enough to slide something through. Then we both squeezed our fart bombs. Hard. Pop. The inner bags burst. The chemical reaction started immediately. We tossed them through the gap in the tent. Then we ran. We made it back to our tent and dove inside, barely breathing, trying not to laugh. And then we waited. About 30 seconds later, we heard it. "What the?" Chad's voice. Muffled. Panicked. "Oh my God. What is that smell?" The zipper on his tent ripped open. Chad came stumbling out, gagging, coughing, eyes watering. "It smells like something died in there." Other tents started unzipping. Adults poked their heads out, confused. "What's going on? Did something die?" Chad was outside his tent, bent over, dry heaving. "I don't know. Something's wrong with my tent. It smells like death." My brother and I were inside our tent, hands clamped over our mouths, shaking with silent laughter. One of the uncles went over to investigate. He got within 5 feet of Chad's tent and immediately recoiled. "Oh man. Yeah, that's bad." They tried airing it out, opening all the flaps, fanning it with towels. Nothing worked. The smell had soaked into the fabric. Chad ended up having to sleep in the car for the rest of the trip. Nobody ever figured out it was us. Chad complained for hours, blamed it on a dead animal, on a prank from some random kids at the campground. But he never suspected my brother and me. And honestly, I didn't feel bad. Not even a little. He humiliated my brother, got me blamed for something I didn't do, smirked while I got yelled at. So yeah, he earned that wake-up call. My brother and I never told anyone. Not the adults. Not the other cousins. It was our secret. And every time we saw Chad that weekend, trying to get the smell out of his sleeping bag, we'd look at each other and grin. Justice smelled terrible, but it felt amazing. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be complicated. Sometimes it just needs to be perfectly timed and perfectly stinky. If this story brought back memories of getting even with a childhood bully, smash that like button and drop a comment. What's the pettiest revenge you ever pulled off as a kid? And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got plenty more payback stories coming your way.